Empaths absorb emotional energy constantly in a way most people never fully understand. It is not imagination, weakness, or overreaction. It is a heightened awareness of emotional signals that other people ignore every single day. An empath can walk into a room and immediately sense tension before anyone speaks. They can feel sadness hidden behind a smile, anger behind silence, or anxiety hidden beneath confidence. Their nervous system is constantly scanning emotional environments, collecting information without effort. And over time, this constant emotional absorption changes the way they experience life. Most people only process emotions that directly belong to them. Empaths process emotions from everyone around them. That means they are not only carrying their own stress, fears, and struggles, but also the emotional weight of friends, family members, coworkers, and even strangers. This creates a psychological overload that many empaths cannot explain. They often feel emotionally exhausted without understanding why. After spending time around negative or emotionally unstable people, they may suddenly feel drained, anxious, or mentally heavy. The energy of others stays with them long after the interaction ends. One of the biggest problems empaths face is the inability to separate their own emotions from the emotions they absorb. When someone around them is suffering, empaths naturally internalize that pain. They replay conversations in their mind. They overanalyze facial expressions and tone changes. They feel responsible for fixing emotional problems that were never theirs to carry. Because of this, many empaths become emotional caretakers from a very young age. They learn to prioritize the feelings of others while ignoring their own emotional needs. This constant emotional exposure affects the nervous system deeply. Empaths often live in a state of emotional alertness. Their brain rarely relaxes completely because they are always reading the environment around them. Over time, this can create emotional fatigue, anxiety, mental exhaustion, and even physical stress. Many empaths struggle with sleep because their mind continues processing emotional energy long after the day has ended. Their body carries tension that never fully disappears. But emotional absorption also creates extraordinary emotional intelligence. Empaths develop strong intuition because they spend years observing human behavior at a deeper level than most people. They notice microexpressions, energy shifts, hidden intentions, and emotional inconsistencies. They become highly aware of manipulation, dishonesty, and emotional instability. What once overwhelmed them eventually becomes insight. Their sensitivity transforms into perception. The healthiest empaths eventually learn an important lesson: not every emotion belongs to them. Once they understand this, everything changes. They stop carrying emotional burdens that are not theirs to fix. They create boundaries, they protect their peace. Instead of absorbing every emotional storm around them, they learn to observe without drowning in it. This emotional discipline allows them to become calm, grounded, and emotionally powerful. Empaths absorb emotional energy constantly because their awareness operates at a deeper emotional frequency than most people. But their greatest strength appears when they learn how to protect that sensitivity instead of being controlled by it. Emotional pain changes the body over time. Most people believe emotional pain disappears once the moment is over. They think stress is temporary, heartbreak fades quickly, and emotional exhaustion only exists in the mind. But the human body does not work that way. The body remembers everything the mind tries to ignore. And for empaths, emotional pain often leaves a deeper mark because they experience emotions with unusual intensity. Empaths do not simply hear emotional pain, they absorb it. Their nervous system reacts to emotional tension as if it were physical danger. That means years of stress, overthinking, emotional suppression, and caring too deeply slowly begin affecting the body itself. The emotional burden becomes physical over time. Chronic emotional stress changes posture, sleep patterns, facial tension, breathing, energy levels, and even the way a person ages. Many empaths carry invisible tension in their shoulders, jaw, stomach, and nervous system for years without realizing it. Their body remains emotionally alert, even during moments of silence, because their mind is constantly scanning for emotional danger or conflict. They become used to living in survival mode. One of the biggest reasons emotional pain affects empaths so deeply is because they internalize emotions instead of releasing them. They replay conversations repeatedly. They overanalyze situations. They blame themselves for problems they did not create. Even after conflict ends, their mind continues carrying the emotional weight. This creates long-term stress inside the nervous system. Science consistently shows that chronic stress increases cortisol levels in the body. When cortisol remains elevated for long periods, it affects sleep, focus, emotional stability, immune function, and physical aging. The face often reflects this emotional pressure. Some people develop hardened expressions, tired eyes, or constant tension because emotional stress has been living inside their nervous system for years. This is why many empaths seem emotionally older when they are young. They mature early because life forces them to carry emotional burdens most people avoid. They become emotionally aware far sooner than others. While many people ignore emotional patterns, empaths spend years studying them unconsciously. They learn human behavior through pain, disappointment, betrayal, and emotional overload. That experience creates emotional depth, but it also leaves scars. However, emotional pain does not always destroy a person. In many cases, it transforms them. The empath who learns emotional control often becomes incredibly resilient later in life. Once they stop absorbing every emotion around them, the body begins recovering from years of emotional overload. Their nervous system calms down, their sleep improves, their face softens, their energy becomes lighter. This is why healed empaths often age differently. They no longer waste emotional energy trying to save everyone around them. They stop chasing toxic relationships and emotionally draining environments. Instead of carrying emotional chaos, they choose peace. And peace changes the body in powerful ways. A calm nervous system creates emotional stability. Emotional stability reduces chronic stress. Reduced stress allows the body to heal. Over time, this creates a noticeable difference in how a person looks, feels, and carries themselves. Their eyes appear clearer. Their presence feels grounded. Their energy becomes calm instead of anxious. Emotional pain changes the body over time because emotions are never purely mental. They live inside the nervous system, muscles, thoughts, and behaviors. For empaths, this effect becomes even stronger because they experience emotions so deeply. But when they finally learn boundaries and emotional discipline, their sensitivity stops becoming a burden and starts becoming strength. Empaths often mature faster than others. Empaths often mature faster than others because they experience the emotional reality of life much earlier and much deeper than most people do. While others may move through life focused only on surface-level experiences, empaths are constantly observing emotions, tension, behavior, and hidden intentions. They notice what people try to hide. They feel emotional shifts that others completely miss. And because of this, they are forced to emotionally grow long before they are ready. Many empaths become emotionally mature during childhood without realizing it. They grow up in environments where they must constantly read the emotions of parents, family members, or people around them. They learn how to detect anger before it explodes, sadness before it is spoken, and tension before conflict begins. Their nervous system becomes trained to scan emotional environments for safety. While other children simply enjoy the moment, empaths are often analyzing moods, energy, and emotional patterns unconsciously. This early emotional awareness changes the way they develop. Empaths usually become the understanding person in relationships. They become listeners, problem solvers, emotional supporters, and peacekeepers. People naturally unload emotional pain onto them because empaths create emotional comfort. But carrying emotional responsibility at a young age forces maturity very quickly. Most people mature through experience over time. Empaths mature through emotional exposure. They feel disappointment deeply. Betrayal affects them intensely. Rejection stays with them longer. Because their emotional sensitivity is stronger, every painful experience teaches them something significant about human nature. They begin understanding manipulation, dishonesty, emotional instability, and hidden intentions much earlier than others. This is why many empaths seem older mentally than people their age. They often prefer deeper conversations instead of shallow attention. Small talk drains them because their mind naturally searches for emotional meaning and authenticity. They become highly reflective people. They think deeply about life, relationships, loyalty, trust, and purpose because their emotional experiences force them to. Another reason empaths mature faster is because they spend so much time observing human behavior. Most people only focus on words. Empaths study tone, eye contact, body language, silence, emotional inconsistencies, and energy shifts. Over time, this creates powerful intuition and emotional intelligence. They become skilled at understanding people because they have spent years emotionally analyzing them. However, this fast emotional maturity often comes with emotional exhaustion. Many empaths grow up feeling emotionally different from others. They may struggle to relate to people who appear emotionally disconnected or insensitive. They often feel isolated because they think and feel at a much deeper level than the people around them. While others avoid emotional depth, empaths are naturally pulled toward it. The positive side of this emotional maturity appears later in life. Empaths who survive emotional hardship often become extremely wise, calm, and self-aware adults. Their painful experiences teach them emotional discipline. They stop ignoring red flags. They become selective with relationships and environments. Instead of seeking constant approval, they begin protecting their peace. Over time, this emotional awareness becomes strength. Empaths learn how to remain calm under pressure because they have spent years navigating emotional chaos. They become emotionally resilient because life forced them to develop inner depth early. Their maturity no longer comes from pain alone, but from understanding. Empaths mature faster than others because they experience life beyond the surface. They are shaped by emotional awareness, deep observation, and intense emotional exposure. While this path can feel lonely at times, it also creates people who understand human nature at a level most never reach. Healing changes. How an empath ages. Healing changes how an empath ages because emotional recovery transforms both the mind and the body. Most empaths spend years living under emotional pressure without even realizing how deeply it affects them. They absorb stress from other people, carry emotional pain that does not belong to them, and constantly place the needs of others above their own peace. Over time, this emotional overload exhausts the nervous system and changes the way they experience life. But once healing begins, everything starts changing slowly from the inside out. Young empaths often believe their purpose is to save everyone. They become emotional caretakers for friends, family, and broken relationships. They listen endlessly, forgive repeatedly, and sacrifice their own emotional stability to keep others comfortable. Because of this, many empaths spend the early part of their life emotionally drained. They feel responsible for fixing problems they never created. Their mind rarely rests because they are always carrying emotional weight. This constant emotional stress affects the body more than most people realize. The nervous system remains alert for long periods of time. Sleep becomes lighter, anxiety increases, overthinking becomes normal. Many empaths live in a state of emotional tension for years without understanding why they feel exhausted all the time. Their body reacts to emotional pain as if it were physical danger. Slowly, emotional fatigue begins showing in their energy, posture, expressions, and overall health. But healing changes this process completely. The moment an empath begins creating emotional boundaries, the nervous system finally starts calming down. They stop allowing every emotional storm into their mind. They stop feeling responsible for everyone's happiness. Instead of absorbing endless negativity, they begin protecting their energy. This emotional discipline creates peace inside the body for the first time in years. One of the biggest signs of healing is emotional detachment from chaos. A healed empath no longer reacts to every emotional situation around them. They observe more and absorb less. They learn that understanding someone's pain does not mean carrying it. This realization removes enormous emotional pressure from the nervous system. As stress decreases, the body responds positively. Sleep improves. Facial tension softens. Their energy becomes lighter and more stable. Many healed empaths appear calmer and emotionally younger because they are no longer living in constant emotional survival mode. Their presence feels peaceful instead of anxious. They begin aging with emotional wisdom rather than emotional exhaustion. Healing also changes the empath mentally. They stop chasing validation and emotionally unavailable people. They become selective about relationships, environments, and conversations. Instead of trying to rescue everyone, they prioritize peace, honesty, and emotional balance. This shift protects them from the emotional burnout they once experienced repeatedly. Another powerful effect of healing is clarity. Empaths who heal become highly aware of manipulation, toxic behavior, and emotional dishonesty. Because they spent years studying emotions unconsciously, they develop strong intuition over time. They can sense emotional danger quickly and avoid situations that once drained them. This self-awareness prevents unnecessary emotional suffering later in life. The healed empath becomes quieter, calmer, and stronger, not because they stopped caring, but because they learned where their emotional energy truly